Welcome to the Big 12 Insiders, your Big 12 sports show. Here's your host, Brien Hanley.
Hey, everybody. What's going on? This is your man, Big B, Brien Hanley, along with Tim Fitzgerald. Welcome back to Big 12 Insiders. Today is a sad day, Fitz. It's the last power rankings for football. Last power rankings for football. Next week, I will have power rankings for basketball. That's going to be wild, but we'll get it. I'll get it figured out one way or another. But last one of the year for football. Big 12 championship game is this weekend. College football playoff rankings come out tonight. A lot of stuff going on in the Big 12. A search that I don't think anybody saw coming. Kalani Sitake is the main target for Penn State. Like I said, I don't think anybody saw that coming, but I have a big-time Penn State fan, and he was saying that, yeah, it's going to be somebody that nobody's thinking about. And I don't think it's a done deal. Apparently, the Crumble Cookie CEO or owner is in the middle of this thing trying to keep him there. And it's interesting, man. It is wild. It is wild stuff, Fitz. Having said all of that, how you doing?
I'm good. They want him to stay and they're willing to give him cookies. I'll take the job. Didn't see this one coming.
No.
And unfortunately, I'm sure BYU fans didn't either because Kalani's truly one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And this shows how tangled college football is right now. It really is. Not that coaches never left their alma mater to go coach somewhere else. He doesn't want to. I truly believe it. He doesn't want to, but he does want to coach at the highest level.
Mm-hmm.
And the folks on the committee or whomever is applying a pressure to the committee is making sure BYU isn't in when their resume is clearly a playoff team.
Yep.
Clearly. By every standard they've used in the past, this is it. They're in, but they're not. And I get the frustration. I hope BYU can hang on to it. Mostly, I hope college football allows the Big 12 and ACC to have a legitimate shot of contending. Because if you're going to cook the books, which is what you are doing, you're going to cook the books, and then what are we doing?
Yeah.
If you're just going to decide that these conferences only deserve one bid no matter what, or two bids at the most, what are we doing? BYU's clearly got a playoff resume. Let's not talk about Texas that lost to a losing team. You can't lose to a losing team and then win an argument to sneak into the playoff, can you?
Correct.
Okay, so here's what I did today. The publishers did not do a power ranking this week.
Okay.
They were kind of so fed up with the season, they just said, okay, that's it. And I agree. So I went back and held us as publishers accountable. I put the preseason poll in.
Ooh.
Next to your final.
Interesting.
Poll.
That'll be very interesting to see.
It wasn't as bad as last year. Let's put it that way. But still, Arizona, we're sorry.
Well, we'll get into that again before we get started. Remember, like, follow, subscribe, continue to get in the comments, and always hit that notification bell so you know exactly when Big 12 Insiders content comes out. First off, again, the first four remain unchanged, or I guess the last four remain unchanged. 16, Oklahoma State, 15, Colorado, 14, UCF, 13, West Virginia.
Like to thank those schools for a sense of predictability for the conference. They've been holding down those spots for a while, and they stuck it out. Good job, guys.
They did. I would say this, though. The only team – now, West Virginia kind of looked like they wanted their season to be over. They got steamrolled by Texas Tech. Colorado didn't look interested for better parts of their game. Oklahoma State's just not any good. They just don't have enough talent. And UCF has some talent. They fought BYU for a while, But at the end of the day, BYU is just a better football team and prevailed. But those are the bottom four. Next is the KU Kansas JHawks. Man, Fitz, you talk about a horrific way to end your college football career. I don't know that there's other than getting hurt and having some, I don't know, career-ending injury. Jalen Daniels, the way he went out at home, I genuinely feel bad. And look, I admit I went to Kansas State. Anytime that something bad happens to KU as far as football, I laugh because it's funny to me. But I try to be as impartial as I possibly can on this channel. But Jiminy, nobody wants to see a kid go out like that, man. That wasn't funny to me, Fitz. That was sad. And I mean, genuinely, that was sad to see it come apart like that in your last game. Come on, man. Nobody wishes that on anybody, Fitz.
No. And he's got his detractors. I enjoy him as a player. I've talked to him off the field. I think he's a nice guy. I think the Apple Watch around the neck was a mistake. But yeah, I mean, this season just went off the rails for Kansas, and I still at times I'd watch them play and think that's a pretty good football team, but they're not.
They're not.
So I know Lance Leipold's getting a little heat, a little discontent around Lawrence, but let's not be silly here. Let's not be silly. Let's see what happens next year. But I think he's realizing now he missed his window to move on because he was staying. He was committed, but now I think he's beginning to double think that because of NIL and everything else going on around college football right now. And I'm not sure who Kansas gets. It's going to improve what Lance Leipold's done, but he's got to start winning some close games, man. This is unbelievable.
Yeah, he's got to start winning some close games and get the program over the hump. And over the hump for Kansas is just going to a bowl game consistently. And I know a lot of people, and I'm starting to actually come around to it, that bowl games don't really mean much anymore. They do have meaning, though, people. They absolutely do. I know to the fans, oh, it doesn't matter, yada, yada. Yeah, it does. If you want to have a good football program, going to a bowl game means something. Going to a bowl game every year means something if you truly want to have a good program. So fans sometimes don't see that. I get why they don't see that because everybody has made the playoffs so important, but bowl games are truly important. And for Kansas to get over the hump, they got to be going to bowl games every year. It's just you can't be taking yourself seriously if you can't do that. Yep. And right now they're not that, Fitz.
Agree.
So
totally agree.
Number 11 is Baylor. Totally disappointing with Baylor. Baylor has talent, but it's a mess down there right now. They're basically forced to keep a head coach that boosters don't want to keep because of their athletic director is gone. Not fired yet, just gone. And when you're forced to keep a head football coach because the guy that's supposed to hire the next one isn't in place, that's a problem. That is a problem. And when the boosters are 100% out, and they are 100% out on Dave Aranda, yikes. That is never good for your program, man. And that's where we are with Baylor. They underachieved again. But basically, it started week 1 when you played Auburn, who Auburn is a below-average football team, and they've proven to be a below-average football team, and they marched into Waco and went up and down the field running the football against Baylor. You kind of had a feeling, uh-oh, and this is where they are, Fitz. But they're number 11 in the final power rankings.
Baylor.
Yeah.
Baylor. I don't know, man. I feel for their fans.
Yeah.
Having circumstances leave you with a coach that clearly is not dead in the water, but pretty close to lifeless in the water. The thought of trying to keep him for another year. In this atmosphere, a year can devastate your program. Because if I'm a pretty good Baylor player that, is kind of wondering about the future, I might leave now. I might get out because next year could get really ugly. And you don't want to be a part of that. See how the portal magnifies every decision to keep or fire a coach? I mean, the players get to vote. Well, keeping him was a bad idea. I'm out. So we'll see how Baylor holds it together here over the next stretch as they try to get through the portal. Yep.
Yeah, no. Yeah, you're exactly right. It'll be interesting to see who they keep and who they can get. I'm not sure. But there we are. Arizona dead last. UCF.
We
West
apologize. Virginia. Again, this is the publishers didn't
poll.
do a poll, so this is the preseason poll they did in the lighter type.
And I think I'll be honest with everybody. I mean, I don't think there was many people anywhere that didn't think Arizona was going to be last. But this is the Big 12. We saw it the year before with Arizona State. This year, Arizona. So, and I like that Arizona did what they did because in 2023, Arizona had a really good year. 2024 kind of falls apart. Not kind of falls apart. It did. 2025, they bounced back and said, hold on, man. 2024 was a fluke. So, and basically what I think Arizona did is they embraced physicality. But we'll talk about them here in a minute. So, and I didn't realize, and I guess I'm pretty good at this because I put this together, and this was almost the exact way that the final rankings in the Big 12 ended up. So, who knew? Who knew? Anyway, number 10, Cincinnati. Oh, Lord have mercy. Talking about falling off a cliff. Bearcat fans, what happened? Well, you knew it was going to happen. And Scott Satterfield, look, there's no secret that I'm not a big Scott Satterfield fan. There's no secret on why. I felt like that he tried to leave Louisville. And you all know I'm a diehard Louisville fan, and he tried to leave Louisville in the brink to go to Virginia Tech. He tried to do it underhanded. He lied about the entire thing. He got caught. And then, oh, no, I was just talking. No, you weren't. You were trying to take the job, and you got caught, and the buyout was too big. That's why you didn't go. Stop the madness. And from then on, the program took a nosedive, and then he goes to Cincinnati, and Louisville fans were like, thank God you took him. And now he's at Cincinnati, and I get it. They've won a couple of more games every single season, which he was quick to point out. He was also quick to point out, we're just not as good as these other teams. We're just not as good, which that's fine if you're not. I'm just not sure in the press conference you just want to come out, we're just not as good as these other teams that we've played that beat us. We're just not as good as them. Well, damn. Okay, maybe coach a little better or we can get some better players, something. But no, they're just better than us. And he just said it so matter-of-factly, Fitz. It's just like, I get you're being honest, which I can appreciate. But Lord have mercy. I mean, the guys coming back in the locker room, they're like, well, damn, our coach doesn't even think we're as good as them. So maybe I should go join them. That happens these days.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate the honesty.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was a good idea, but yeah, this is, we knew it was going to end. We just didn't realize it was going to be a colossal crap show.
Yes.
As they went down, but they did. So they have gone from the top 4 to the bottom rungs.
Yes.
Very quickly. Good job.
I want to say we had them as high as 2 because of where they were.
I think you're right. I do.
I think we had them as high as 2, and this is the second straight year they have had an end of the year collapse. And I know they played good competition. They did. I mean, Utah, Arizona, BYU, at TCU. I get it, but Jiminy Christmas. I mean, they were competitive in the I guess they were competitive in BYU, but Utah and TCU, they were not competitive. Not even a little bit. So it's disappointing, but this is where they are right now. And your coach agrees. Just so I'm sorry, Bearcat fans, but your coach is telling you, you're not very good. He said it, not me. Number 9, speaking of TCU, there they are. Nice end of the season for the Horned Frogs. After they had an opportunity to get to Arlington, Fitz, they just said, nah, hold on now. We don't want to do that. But we will end the season on a decent note. They upset Houston at Houston. They blow out Cincinnati after they had 2 straight losses. Again, Iowa State, BYU, there's nothing to be bad. The game that I think kind of set the tone for them is getting their head beaten in Manhattan, Kansas. And when you go there and you got your head beaten in, and K-State, it was an average football team, but TCU's got more talent than this, Fitz. They just got more talent than this. And I know they win 8 games. I get it, but it should have been more, in my opinion. It just should have been more.
I agree. I can't figure this one out. I thought, TCU was going to be really good.
Mm-hmm.
I saw them play in Manhattan, and they looked really bad. Probably their worst game of the season, I would imagine.
Mm-hmm.
But they never quite carved out an identity. It was like potluck every week. You're not sure if you're going to see good TCU, bad TCU, what TCU, who are they? I think TCU fans got to the end of the season and said, I still don't know what this team's about. Are they good? Are they bad? Or are they just unlucky? Or you talk about a team that went through 12 games and we still don't know if they're good or not. It's bizarre. Oh,
and that's the thing. I'm going to learn from next year because, again, if they're going to go to a bowl game, if they win it, they're going to win 9 games this year. And I said the same thing last year. Hey, man, it's one of the most quiet 9-win football teams that you've ever heard of. It's going to be the same thing next year because there's not a lot of people out there that know that TCU has won 8 games this year. And if they win a bowl game, it has won 9 games. But you're not going to fool me next year. I can tell you that right now. You're not going to fool me. You got to show me. You got to show me. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to do it. At number 8, I got Kansas State. This is, when you're 6-6, middle of the conference, that's where you are. And this is where Kansas State is. It never got going at K-State this year, Fitz. It never got going. From that trip to Dublin where they lost to Iowa State, basically the second half of that football game, from then they put together one complete game against KU. I know we just talked about them blowing out TCU, but even in that game, it wasn't a complete because the defense didn't look good in that game, and they had some spurts here and there. I go, but that wasn't a complete game either. It's just they never could put it all together consistently. And isn't that what you always say about a team that's 6-6? They weren't consistent. They couldn't figure it out, and that was Kansas State to a T. Just inconsistent play. One week the offense is good, the defense is bad, and then the next week it was vice versa, and that's what you got, and that's what you get in 6-6 football team. It is what it is, but it's a disappointment. There ain't no question about that. A lot of people thought K-State would be better, but I think some of that, Fitz, is I don't think Kansas State's team was as good as what a lot of people thought they were, and I think that's okay to say. The talent wasn't as good as what maybe people thought. Is like maybe the skill positions were, but in the trenches, offense and defensive line, I think people maybe overestimated how good or bad they were, and they were not up to snuff, and that's a problem.
No, and it just got off to a bad start in Dublin with a bad performance, an injury to a key player, and the first 4 games of the season were a disaster. They barely beat North Dakota. So for this team to go 6-6 overall, but 5-4 in the Big 12 is a little hard to explain, but it does show that they got better. They weren't the same, just absolutely crappy team they were in the first 4 games. So yay. I don't know. They're going to go to a bowl. Nobody's fired up about it, but the coaches and the players. So yeah, it was literally a ho-hum season for Kansas State that was painful to get to where they are, but they're not in the bottom rungs, which is where they were headed at the start of the year.
That is correct. That is absolutely correct. At number 7, I got Iowa State. Look, Iowa State, again, started off really good. And look, they got that win over Arizona. It was at home. That blowout win over Arizona looks amazing right now. And then they hit the skids, and they lost 4 in a row. The crusher was that loss to Colorado at Colorado. It's like, holy cow, guys. I'm like, and I get it. There was a horrific call. I remember a pass interference that I believe they picked up the flag that was clearly pass interference. And I thought that Matt Campbell's head was going to explode. And if it would have exploded on the sideline, I wouldn't have, everybody would have thought, yeah, okay, his head should explode. But man, it took a nosedive. Rocco Beck started playing bad, and they got it turned around at the end of the year, which again, that's a sign of a good program. But 8-4 after the way it started, and you lose 4 in a row. Yeah, they probably wanted more, Fitz. They probably wanted more, probably thought they could have had more, but this is where you are.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, just like Kansas State, TCU, this is a grouping of teams through here that is their fans are disappointed. There's no way they're not. I thought Iowa State would be better. Rocco, I don't know. I don't know what to even say now. I gave you my heart, and you gave me back not good performances, man. So I don't know. Fans and Ames can't be very happy as they are in Manhattan or Fort Worth or at the next place you're going to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. Number 6, Arizona State. Look, Arizona State just took to me, I think what they were able to accomplish when you lose your quarterback, you lose a top wide receiver that's one of the best in the country to injury, even though he's back and playing some. The problem is your quarterback, you're so deficient at quarterback that you can't even throw him the football. Like literally you can't throw him the football because he's not good enough to be able to do that is a problem. But for them to be able to finish the way they finished, give them credit. Give them credit because, again, 8-4, building a program. Arizona State's got a program, Fitz. I mean, because this season could have taken a nosedive, and that's it. That win at Iowa State where where Jeff Sims played the game of his life and just ran it and ran it and ran it. Okay. But to me, I think that's the sign of a program when you lose 2 stars, you're beat up, and you have to find ways to manufacture victories, and they were able to do that. I don't know that there's a lot of teams, Fitz, that could lose their quarterback and their receiver with them being as good as they are, their top receiver and their quarterback, and then say, yeah, we're going to still win football games. I'm not sure there's a lot of programs out there, and I don't care what program you're talking about. Don't care. You take those 2 people away, especially the way that college football is today, where you can't have 75 guys as backups that are as good or better than other football teams in general. I'm just not sure. They got something going on at Arizona State. They should be proud of this season. I know it's a disappointment, but they should be proud of the season after what transpired.
Yeah, Kenny Dillingham can coach. I mean, not just X's and O's, put together a program.
Yep.
Because this is what sees you through those bad times is a really solid program, a good locker room. And he's done that in Tempe. It's impressive. It really is. If this is going to be their down year, I'll probably be voting for them in the top 4. We'll see what they got cooking at quarterback. They need to fix that. I hope Sam Levitt doesn't leave, but it looks like he might. So we'll see. But I think Arizona State has etched itself in a position to be one of the upper echelon programs in this conference for a while.
It does. The main thing that we'll talk about that later. At number 5, we got Houston. Oh, Houston Cougars. Willie Fritz, that man had just I mean, we said it. We said it at the beginning. We said at the beginning of the season, we said, look out for Houston. They have got something cooking. 9 wins. I don't think anybody saw 9 wins.
No.
I don't think anybody saw 9 wins. You look at their schedule, I mean, and I would say that Houston is disappointed because you blow a game to West Virginia at home, and then you blow another game to TCU at home. I mean, again, those are 2 games that they could get back that you're like, well, hell, they would be in the Big 12 championship game. Now, you look at some of the other stuff, and you could say, well, what about the win against Arizona? That wasn't a fluky win. Like, those are 2 evenly matched teams. They had the ball at the end. They were able to win the game. Same thing with Arizona State. Arizona State was down Sam Leavitt actually played a lot. And again, I think he got hurt in the game. But again, 2 evenly matched teams. They were able to win the game. No fluky wins. Now, I'm not saying the West Virginia game was a fluke because West Virginia just went up and down the field, tons of turnovers. I'm just saying that Houston's a better team. They were a better team. They're a better team than TCU. You let those games get away. If you don't let those games get away, who knows? But 9 wins, man, good for Houston. And I'm saying it now. Look out, people. Look out. Colorado at 10. Ugh. BYU at 9. Yikes.
Yep.
Woo. Utah.
What's interesting is that stretch there, Arizona State, Iowa State, Kansas State. They were all picked in the top 5 of the preseason, and none of them finished in the top 5.
Wow. Nobody believed in BYU. Nobody believed in the freshman quarterback, and here we are. But yike. Brutal.
Nope.
Number 4, Arizona. We talked about them earlier.
Bad.
They got it back, man. They figured it out. Good for them. Good for them. I want to see them keep it going. Keep it going, because what they have going as a program right now, it's sustainable. Physicality. It's just, I always say it, and people, oh, B, you're just an old lineman. Hey, man, football doesn't change. Physicality, more times than not, wins the day. And Arizona leaned into that. They did not lean into that last year. They leaned into that this year on both sides of the football, and look what happened. Not saying you have to be the best rushing team in the country or the best defensive team in the country. I'm not saying any of that. All I'm saying is that the bottom line is they leaned into physicality, and when you do that, you can win football games, and that's how you build a program. And Arizona is back. I mean, it is back to what they were in 2023. Let's just clarify that. They're back to what they were. They took a year off, and hopefully 2024 was just a fluky season. New coach, yada, yada, yada. They got things back on board.
Or as they say in Tucson, they have successfully bared down. I'm just not comfortable with bearing down. But an incredible season for Arizona. Just amazing what they came back to end up doing. And you could see them buy in a little more every week. They were getting better and better. So, yeah.
Yeah, I like I said, I like Arizona. I like what they're doing. I like what they did to change the program. Hey, things aren't going well. Let's get new coordinators in here. Let's fix it right now, Fitz. Right now. So, 3, I got Utah. So Utah had a big bounce back season. Again, this wasn't a program that needed to be built. It was a program that needed a quarterback and some new offense, some new offensive identity, whatever you want to call it. They just needed that. Physicality was always there, but it's tough to win when you don't have a quarterback that's, number one, he's always hurt, and then the guys that you have playing behind him can't play, and maybe the offensive scheme is a little outdated. You got to do something different. Let's change it all up. They did that, and here's where they are. Even if Utah played well the last 2 games against Kansas State and KU, it's clear that the College Football Playoff Committee wasn't going to give a damn. But they are slowly dropping them down based on the way their defense is played. But it's frustrating. To me, it's frustrating as a guy who covers and roots for the Big 12 and told people, hey, watch out for Utah. Utah's going to be back this year because they've leaned in some things that they've always done well. And for them not to even be in the conversation, to not be in the conversation, Fitz, is what pisses me off. Their 2 losses are to a team that's in the top 5 and a team that technically should be in the top 10 but isn't. Those are the only 2 losses that they have on the year. And yet they're not even remotely being mentioned, which is wild to me. I'm not saying they should make it. I'm not saying they should make it. But to not have them be in the conversation, like their 2 losses are better, since we're counting losses, you're going to tell me their 2 losses are worse than Miami's? Get out of here, man. No, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Now, you could say who's their best win. Okay, we can start having that conversation. But when you don't judge it all the same, and then with one team, we'll count their losses, and then another team that you're comparing them to will count their wins. Well, hold on. Which one is it? And if it's both, say it's both, and then we can compare. But if you say it's both and BYU gets in ahead of both of them, like I said, I'm not saying Utah deserves to be in, Fitz. All I'm saying is they at least have to be in the conversation. They're not even remotely in the conversation, which is crazy to me. It's crazy.
So if I understand this right, in the Big 12, you can be judged because your wins aren't good enough.
Mm-hmm.
But in the SEC, you're okay if your losses were good enough.
Mm-hmm. Or Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm. So you're looking for quality wins. I'm looking at bad losses.
Yes.
I think bad losses are more a detriment than quality wins.
You would think.
Particularly when strength of schedule and some of those metrics don't bear out how you think the Big 12 actually is. I don't know. This is it. Brett Yormark has put a lot of trust in the committee. And if BYU gets shafted for a second year in a row, he's going to have to admit he's not doing what's best for this conference. That this committee it's not working on behalf of college football. It's working on behalf of the SEC and Big Ten.
And he's going to have to say that out loud, Fitz.
Right.
He's going to have to say that out loud. And that it's working in the best interest of the SEC, the Big Ten, and ESPN. That they're working in the best interest of them, because it's clearly not fair. He got close the other day at the Arizona State game. I don't know if you heard him talk. They interviewed him, and he said that comparing BYU to I mean, I don't think they even brought up teams. No, he might have said Notre Dame. He said it's not even a comparison, and he's right. It's not a comparison. It's not a comparison. But he didn't go far enough. If we get the shaft, he's got to go far enough. He's got to do it. Because if he doesn't, I'll be honest with you, at what point do we say as a conference, hey, man, we don't have strong enough leadership? I love what you're doing, but at some point you got to be willing to you're not even sticking your neck out there. All you're saying is the system is flawed and it's not fair because our teams have better resumes than the teams you put in. Period. End of story. Don't tell me that the eye test that somebody looks better. Hell, you're going to put in a team that lost to another team. So what eye test is bigger than that? But I digress. I'll move on.
I wish he'd get more aggressive. I really do. He needs to get more aggressive with defending the conference.
He does.
And I understand he's trying to be the diplomat, but
that doesn't work anymore.
Quit being the diplomat when you're getting screwed over.
That's right. You can be the diplomat while somebody's punching you in the face. Well, how does that work? At some point, you have to punch back. That's all. That's just the way the world works. It's the way it works.
Not
Number 2, BYU. I hope they keep their coach. Great 2 years. I mean, the last 2 years, but just talking about this year specifically, BYU has had a great season. I look, I don't have a vested interest on who wins the game on Saturday. I really don't. I don't have a vested interest. And I can be honest, if Kansas State was playing in the game, I would be rooting for Kansas State. I'm just going to tell everybody I would be.
Of course.
But I don't have a vested interest. I have a vested interest in the conference. And what's best for the conference on Saturday is if BYU wins, because Tech is going to be in. They're not going to keep Tech out, I don't think.
If they did, it would be unbelievable.
I don't think. But that would be what's best, because then you get 2. But I don't know. I just, it's wild. But just speaking specifically about BYU and getting off of that train, because we can beat that drum till the end of time. I love what BYU did this year. They had a turmoil in July. They had to get a new quarterback, a true freshman quarterback. He wins the job, plays well, ramps up. And now, I mean, I'm not saying he's one of the best quarterbacks in the country or anything, but I think it's safe to say he's probably one of the better ones in the Big 12. I think it's easy to say that. And the guy and him, and it looks like the team has rallied around him. The defense kind of did their thing, and everybody else on the offense kind of, okay, let's do our thing until he can get up to speed. Because it's a jump, man, coming from high school football to the Big 12, man. That is a jump. Their schedule was perfect for the situation, ramped up slow, but they're hitting on all cylinders right now, Fitz. This BYU team is hitting on all cylinders. I don't count them out on Saturday. It's going to be a tall order. It is absolutely going to be a tall order. News about their coach, whatever that shakes out to be, doesn't help. But it seems like to be a focus group of young men, and I don't count them out. I absolutely don't count them out, and I love what they did this season. I absolutely love, because, again, it wasn't just the Big 12 publishers that picked them ninth. It was basically everybody, myself included. I'm like, you know how hard it is to be a true freshman quarterback, to win the job in July when nobody thinks you're going to be the guy, and maybe you even redshirt because you're not going to play because there's a starter in place, and you come in and do what you did. Shoot, I like this team. I think they're great.
And he stayed healthy. Bear Bachmeier stayed healthy the entire season.
He did.
Despite running the ball, despite playing the way you should play the game. I'll be heartbroken for BYU fans if they lose Satake over what's going on in college football, because what he's done in Provo is absolutely remarkable.
Yep.
And here's the thing. I truly believe this, that BYU is one of the programs in this conference that has the potential resources to rise up and be a real disruptor like Texas Tech is doing. And that's part of the reason why we're seeing them being suppressed a little bit, is BYU could become a monster. It could. Now we're seeing them kind of wrestle with the purposes of athletics and how much you want to spend on it now. There's a lot of internal arguments within the church. I find it very fascinating. But I'll say this, whether you think a football coach should be paid a lot or not, I think we can agree that BYU being a top 10 type of program is not just good for BYU and the Big 12. It's good for the church. We're having a real discussion in some corners about how the church is being treated because of whatever reason they come up with. I don't know. I swear to God, Big B, if there was a Muslim Brotherhood university, they wouldn't get excluded like BYU is. I can't explain it. I don't understand it, but it's real. It's there. It's right in front of you. And I hope they don't lose a really good football coach who is one of them. Literally, He bleeds that blue. But if he doesn't believe it can be done there, I see why a competitive man would move on. Hopefully they can keep him. Hopefully this stirs the committee a little bit. It won't. But BYU is a huge benefit to this conference. I love having them in the Big 12. And part of the reason why is their upside is massive. And everyone else knows that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not room in the club for them. They don't have room for that nerdy kid from Provo. They just don't. They don't want him there. They don't. Go sit at the table with someone else. We don't want you at our table. Is what they're being told. It's petty and it's bizarre. But that's where we are at.
That's where we're at. That is where we're at, unfortunately. Number one is Tech. There's
What?
so many.
Surprise.
There's so many things that you could say about Texas Tech. I think what you got to start with is that they're one of the best teams in the country. And that's where you have to start, is that they are one of the best teams in the country. The thing that Tech is actually getting the benefit of the doubt is because they have a loss to Arizona State, who, number one, isn't a bad football team.
No.
But it seems like the committee is kind of – now, we'll find out. If they happen to lose the Big 12 title game, we'll find out how much they actually respect that they have one loss without their starting quarterback. Because it appears that they are giving them that respect at this present time. But we'll see how that plays out, you know, especially tonight. Now, tomorrow, me and Fitz are going to have our college football show again, our college football playoff show again, and we'll find out. If they drop Texas A&M and they keep them in the top 5, then hell. I mean, if the Big Ten didn't have vested interest, which they do, everybody should just boycott the whole damn thing and just say, guys, it's rigged. It's absolutely rigged. But we'll see. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think it can happen if they're not being biased. But we'll find out. But Tech is one of the better football teams in the country. I don't think there's any ifs, ands, or buts. People want to give them grief for how they got this roster. And I keep saying, what do you want them to do? You don't want them to play by – I mean, there's no rules. So you don't want them to play like all the other people that have big donors? You don't want them to do that? Like, why? Why can't they benefit like other schools? You don't think Texas gets big money? Of course they do. Ohio State, Michigan, Alabama. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Why can't they benefit? Because they never have before? And that's what it is. People don't like change.
Not in the club.
They're not in the club, Fitz. You're exactly right. And people don't like that. Well, they bought their way into the club. It's kind of like any club, like the new person that got money. Let's say there's a boat club or a yacht club would be the better word, the yacht club, and I won the lottery, and I'm going to join the yacht club. Well, they don't like me because I'm new money, and I didn't earn the money. I said, well, I earned the money to buy the ticket to win the lottery, so I'm joining the club. What do you want to do about it? Period, end of story. Tech's the same way, man. We're not in the club. We got somebody that decided we needed to be in the club. Tech, as an athletic department, decided we need to be in the club. They did what was necessary to get there. I give them all the credit in the world. And not only did they do that, Fitz, it's not about just buying players and building a roster. They built the right roster. They built it the right way. They didn't bring in a bunch of mercenaries, guys that weren't going to play together as a team, that didn't give a damn about anybody else. They built a roster of really talented football guys that cared about winning. Yes, I want my money, but I also want to win. And bringing us all together, we're going to win. And I love that they did that because, first of all, they got people on their staff that are doing their due diligence and know what the hell they're doing. Because you can bring in a roster full of guys and you can pay them $50 million. But if it's the wrong people, you're not going to win, man. And we've seen that. You see it in the professional ranks. You see it. You've seen it in college. You see it all the time. It doesn't work. Well, it works at Texas Tech. They got people doing their homework. They did it the right way. They've got one of the best teams in the country, and they should be applauded by other Big 12 teams, and I don't see that enough, Fitz. I see enough. I see more fans out there. Well, they bought the team. Okay. That's the way it works. That's the way it works.
Let me say it this way.
You're good. And that's the problem. I think more Big 12 fans need to get on board. I understand everybody doesn't have the funds, but you need to get on board with your brother and that did it the way. I mean, it's the right way. There's no rules. And when there's no rules, you play by the rules that you just play. No rules. We're doing it like everybody else.
It's almost like they're offended that a Texas Tech and BYU can be amongst them.
Yep.
They're so used to having the rules completely bent their way because they weren't following the rules. Let's be honest. The best teams have been bought for a long time in college football. Not just now in this environment. But because of this environment, a Texas Tech can go out there and compete for the best players. They didn't have that in mind when they went to this whole idea. They didn't want that. No. You guys got to still be yourselves because we're the blue bloods and the big brands. You got to go back in your box. This is so good for college football that a Texas Tech can do this. College football, the best thing that could happen to college football this year is a national championship for Texas Tech.
Mm-hmm.
Because all hell could break loose.
Absolutely.
Every school with a multi-billion-dollar donor that has interest in athletics might go, let's test this theory. I don't know, Big B. I think the Big 12 needs to do one thing and one thing only. Whomever gets in this playoff needs to kick some ass. They've got to. The loss Arizona State suffered last year and the way it went about was such a huge missed opportunity. I'm going to say it from now to the end of time. We can't have – it was close because nobody cares. The next year, nobody cares. You didn't advance. Doesn't matter if it was 1 point or 30 points. You don't advance, they don't talk about you. Got to advance through this bracket. I almost hope Texas Tech doesn't get a bye so that they can get the win and get a little momentum going. But I don't know, man. It's frustrating. Tech is a legitimate national title contender. And now let's watch them do their contortions to try to keep them out of the buys.
And they will. They win this game. I don't see how they're going to keep them out, but they'll try. If they win the Big 12 title, I mean, what are you going to do? But they'll try. They'll try. They'll pick everything about their season apart, and all of a sudden Arizona State's going to suck, and they lost to them. They'll do everything in their power to try to do it, man. So we'll see. We will see. But that's the Final Four. What were the publishers' Final Four there, Fitz? Ooh, Arizona State, Kansas State, Tech, Baylor.
Baylor. Basically, Baylor and Houston swap places.
Yes. Yes.
I got to say this. It isn't as bad as last year's.
No, hell no.
But it does, again, emphasize the chaos that is Big 12 football.
Yeah.
Because the games matter. The games actually matter.
They matter. They actually matter. So, well, everybody, again, man, thank you very, very much. I'll be at the Big 12 title game on Saturday, keeping you guys informed on what I see, what's going on. Me and Fitz will be back tomorrow, a college football playoff show. We'll discuss the rankings and what has happened to the Big 12 and whether we actually have a real shot to get multiple teams in, regardless of the outcome on Saturday. We'll discuss that. Basketball on the horizon. A lot of good stuff. K-State, yike. But we'll figure out some stuff. But it's early. But the Big 12 is right there, man. The Big 12, man, oh, man, oh, man. The Big 12 has got some really good basketball teams, man, that are in this thing. And I said it, and I know a lot of people said it. Look out for Arizona. I'm just saying right now, just pay attention to Arizona. I know they're ranked, second? I get it. but I think they're just tapping in. I really think they're tapping. Arizona and BYU, Fitz, I think are just tapping in. I think they have got something going on. So anyway, appreciate everybody. Thank you very much, and we will talk to you soon.
Thank you for watching the Big 12 Insiders, your Big 12 sports show. This has been a Spirit Street production.